ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. We are only a couple of days, hours away from commemorating once again Rosh Hashana, the beginning of a new year in the Jewish calendar. It's the year 5775. It's a day, of course, in which we are going to gather in the synagogue. It's a day of prayer. According to the Bible, on the 7th month, the first day of the 7th month, you have to have a holy congregation. And that is a reference to Rosh Hashana, because in the Bible, the first month of the year is Nisan, the month in which our ancestors left Egypt. That's when we really became a nation, and we start counting time from then. On Rosh Hashanah, what do you have to do? The Torah doesn't say many things about it. It says it has to be Yom Teruah. It has to be a day in which you listen to the sound of the shofar. But it doesn't say much more. Our tradition says, do you know why you sound the shofar? Maimonides says, it's because it's like a sound of alarm. It's a wake-up call. You know, all year you have been busy with many things. Comes a certain period from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur where you have to do self-examination. You have to do introspection. You have to look at yourself. How are you doing? Where are you going? You have to make amends. You have to do teshuvah. You have to go back to your roots. But there are many who say, do you know why you sound the shofar really in Rosh Hashanah? Because it's the crowning of God as King of the universe. Who recognizes God as King of the universe? Actually, we human beings. We are the ones that have this relationship with God. It's a two-way relationship. We recognize Him as our God, and He recognizes us as His people. So on Rosh Hashanah, we once again reenact the coronation of God. And how do we crown Him? With the sound of the shofar. This is how we do it. The shofar has two basic sounds. It has three, but two of them are really basic. One is teruah, which consists of little sounds, at least 9 of them, very short sounds of the shofar. And the other one is tekiyah, which is one long, sustained sound of the shofar. When was the shofar used in the teruah form? That was when there was danger. When you wanted to tell the people there is something wrong, we have to prepare for war. That was done with teruah. And on the other hand, tekiyah was to gather the people in order to take counsel, because you wanted to discuss together what you should do under certain circumstances. Maybe we can say that the teruah represents the don'ts in the Torah. It represents the things that we're allowed to do. For instance, we can't use light, we can't use electronic instruments on the Shabbat. We're not allowed to work on Shabbat. And what is the positive part that tekiyah represent? It represents maybe rest on Shabbat. It represents being with your family. It represents the study of Torah. And there isn't a greater delight, really, than the study of Torah. Studying something and understanding it a little bit deeper this time than you did a time before is one of the greatest pleasures in life. So, why should we listen to the sound of the shofar? Out of fear of God. We observe our laws because of the teruah sound that alerts us there may be war, there may be a punishment for something that we do. Or shall we rather listen to the shofar because it brings us satisfaction, because we realize the sanctity of the Sabbath day, even though it's the same day as any other day of the week. But ask any Jew who observed the Shabbat, and he'll tell you that that day is very different. I remember when I was a lifeguard in Camp Morris was the name of it. It was a hotel that year as well. So in addition to campers, there were also guests in a hotel. And I remember one Hasidic rabbi in particular. He was a short man. During the week, he looked like every one of us. But came Erev Shabbat. Maybe he had gone to a very hot bath. His face shone. You felt that the glory of God is upon this man. So that it is not only out of fear of God, it is also out of a positive appreciation of certain things. So what should the shofar represent for us? Should it be negative things, or should it be only positive things? Or maybe it should be both. There has to be a little bit of both. You have to have awe in the presence of God. You have to, maybe we don't understand certain things, but we know that God in his infinite wisdom asked us to do certain things. So in this coming year, let the sound of the shofar, the positive things and also the negative things, be a part of your life. Be sure that on Shabbat you don't do any work, but make sure that you also rest. Make sure that you also study the Torah. Eventually, I hope that the positive elements will be felt more by you and your family. It is a moment when I want to express to all of you, Shana Tova, wish you a very good year, a year of fulfillment, a year of health, in the company of your children, of your family, in the company of your friends, and really a year of peace and understanding for Klal Yisrael and for all of humanity.